Boy, oh boy, Aries, this is a big time for you. Not only did you recently have Neptune go into your first sign, but into your first house, but right at this moment, you've had Saturn come into your first house, into the sign of Aries. And boy, oh boy, is that creating some shifts and the potential for much greater shifts as you explore your personality. In this 2-week forecast, I'm going from the new moon in Gemini right the way through to the full moon in Sagittarius. This is a time of air to fire, hence why I've also released a video called Air to Fire or something similar. It's got that thumbnail, which gives you a real overview into all of the aspects of the new moon description and the full moon description. In particular, like the new moon is super, super airy. It's got 5 planets in the sign of air. It's really light. It's creating a sense of change. But as we go through this 2-week period, the need, the motivation to start taking action and to move forwards is really, really building. And there's a lot building in your sign. Now, this particular video builds on that information and it makes it personal to you. So what I'm going to do is, run through these charts. Now, if you're new to this channel, by the way, my name's Louisa Munson. Welcome. I hope you find this useful. What I do with Feel Good Astrology is signpost how the astrological aspects, the planetary weather can affect you, and also what you might do to shift it, or to, I give you advice as to how you might want to play with it so that you get the best out of it and not the worst out of it. Anyway, let's get going. So this is your new moon to full moon forecast. In this air to fire, like I've gone a lot more in depth. I talk a lot more about the actual moon phase. And also I include the Sabian symbols too. So there's a ton of information there. Anyway, before I get going, I just want to do a quick thank you to everybody who supports this channel and also who supports my membership with school. I love you all. I think you're all very brilliant people. Thank you so much. So let's have a look at this Aries forecast then. So I'm looking at these 2 charts, the new moon in Gemini one and also the full moon in Sagittarius. You might notice a difference. I mean, how is it that this all is so kind of perfectly put together? You've got these very precise looking aspects. And then 2 weeks later, it looks so scattered. It does look really bonkers. What I really noticed with this new moon in Gemini energy is that everything is kind of new and fresh. It's exciting. There's lots of opportunity, and it just feels like it's an invitation. It feels like it's inviting you to be playful and to have some fun and not to be so forceful. Now, during this 2-week forecast, your ruling planet, which is Mars, is actually in a lovely trine to Venus and in a really supportive trine to Chiron. The whole of this time, that Mars is working in a really, really helpful way. So I do think this is going to be a strong time. And I do think the new moon energies are going to be leading you to taking some big old action around the time of the full moon. Talking of the full moon, I want to just sort of explore where these moons are happening. So we're starting with a real 3rd house energy with this new moon. And then when we get to the full moon, we're in the 3rd to the 9th energy. So we're working around the parallel of the 3rd and the 9th houses. The 3rd house is very much about your sense of belonging. You're belonging to friends, siblings, your local neighborhood, your work. It's about your kind of social life, I would say, and that sort of social context that you live your life by. Maybe there's a narrative. Maybe there's a feeling of, we go here because this is the best place. We don't go here because that's where the weirdos go. Or you might choose to. I would. I tend to be on the outside of things. But the 3rd house is very much about how you belong and how you get organized within that belonging. So, like, what are you gifting your local environment? Like, what are you doing within the community? How are you profiting and helping and healing and so on and so forth? It's really showing the levels of interaction that you might be doing within the community. So you may well find during this early part of the forecast that you're in quite a friendly place, really wanting to meet up with people, getting quite busy, learning lots, having lots of little chats. The Gemini energy is very stop, start, and it's kind of pulling you over here, pulling you over here. So it is quite a cornucopia of vistas, let's say. And then as we're coming around and the moon is moving all the way around to the sign of Sagittarius in your 9th house, by the time we get up here, the vista is changing in a really big way. First of all, your energies are coming out of your local environment and what you know and what feels safe. And your attention is being taken into the unknown, into the not yet experienced. It's really wanting to go far and wide and deep and into a much deeper place. You know, the sign of Gemini is very much black and white, yes and no, numbers 1, 2, 3, and ABC, and so on and so forth. It's really about, you know, the grounding of our knowledge. And then, you know, this part of the chart is about what happens next. What do we add to that first foundational level of information? So, you know, as we get to the full moon in Sagittarius, I really see that there's this desire to push out and not to be so cosseted and coddled in this 3rd house area. You're really wanting to break free. And it's funny saying that to an Aries because, of course, you know, the Aries energy is pretty independent anyway. You don't take too kindly to people saying, you know, move out of here and come up here. I mean, you are absolutely doing things your own way anyway. However, you know, in recent times, as you can see, Neptune here, Saturn here, you've also got Chiron. You've got these 3 big planets in the 1st house. This is really creating a shift in your identity and possibly a discomfort about who you've become. Maybe there's aspects of your life right now that really don't seem to fit in with your old view of yourself. And of course, the community that you're living in will be perpetuating your belief in yourself. You know, you'll see yourself reflected back in the eyes and the words of the people around you. So if you're not feeling comfortable in yourself, in the way you're being seen right now, the way you're seeing yourself, I guess it's evidence that you're growing, you're evolving, and that persona that you've created for yourself is tight. It's not feeling that comfortable. I remember when Saturn went into my 1st house the last time, not that long ago, really. I say that like 7 years ago. It's quite a long time. And it was a time when I was really, really feeling like I wanted to strengthen myself. I wanted to get stronger. My resilience was a real big key word for me. It was also a time when I felt like I was getting older because obviously Saturn is bringing his sense of longevity into your 1st house, which is quite a big thing. So I don't know how that's landing with you at all. But it's definitely something to look at. So anyway, some of the key dates as we go through this time, I would say the 1st is a really strong day. On the 1st, Mercury is making a cazimi in the 3rd house. You might be making a big decision about how you are being in your community and what you need. Maybe there's a big event and you learn something that is quite important to you. Also, Venus in your 1st house is in a conjunction with Chiron. You know, not only is this signaling that it's, you know, Venus is getting ready to go into her own sign of Taurus, but yeah, there is this feeling of wherever you felt raw and vulnerable, with Chiron being in your 1st house. I mean, you know, he's really led the way. He's been there since 2017, and no doubt you've become very aware of where you don't quite feel, you know, right in yourself. And it could absolutely have something to do with your health, because Chiron isn't just about emotional wounds, but it's also about physical ones. But Venus moving into conjunction with it, I think, is showing it's time to release something really big, and to do it with humor, and also do it with kindness and generosity. Really forgive yourself and forgive other people if you can, for their part in your feeling of maybe not being enough for how you need to be in life. You know, so anywhere where you don't feel strong enough, beautiful enough, talented enough, personable enough, this is a time to really take stock and release that. So I think these two are going hand in hand. So, you know, if I was in your shoes on the 1st, and if you need to be quite social on the 1st, I would absolutely recommend that you are hanging out with people that you feel a lot of trust with, you know, that you feel that, you know, they can really help you. So I think that's important. This is a really big day. I think when Venus is coming into Taurus is pretty big, because she's signaling that you're coming into a money flow accumulation kind of energy, which is very, very beneficial. And then the 8th to the 9th, I think, are also really, really cool. You know, Mercury is making a conjunction with Jupiter and then going into Cancer. It's in your 4th house. It's about your home and how you manage your home, how you manage your family. And then Jupiter's coming in the next day. So Jupiter and Mercury are working together in quite a considered way. You know, I think they're bringing a sense of fun, youthfulness to your home. It might be that there's someone moving in and someone moving out. I don't know what your circumstances are exactly, whether you've got a family with kids that are leaving home, or I don't know. I mean, there's all sorts of different scenarios, aren't there? You might be housemates sharing a place, but there is a sense of movement, a sense of fun, a sense of newness and innovation, and a sense of, deep conversations. I just think a lot of joy and openness are coming into your home. And I think that's a beautiful step forwards. And then as we're coming up to the full moon in Sagittarius, you'll see, you know, these guys are in Cancer, Venus is in Taurus, Saturn and Neptune are just in your 1st house. And the real struggle that can come with the full moons, you know, for me, I think the struggle is more an internal one. I don't think it's an external one. I think you're really feeling your way out of the known. And also, you know, you've got a good stability at home. I think now you're feeling more adventurous. I think you're feeling like, but I want more. I want to expand more. Now, this is quite a fleeting thing, because you know, the moon moves pretty fast, and as soon as it's come into this position and made these squares to the north and south node, it's moving out of there. But suffice to say, it's a bit of a common theme, you know, that as the moon comes up, you are getting this sense of what else is possible? How else can I move forwards? And I think that's really speaking to the Neptune and Saturn that are in your 1st house, that are showing you there is a very deep and slow transformation going on for you, whereby you're learning like so much more about this new phase of yourself. It's like your identity is shifting in quite a big way. Now, if you want to go deeper, I do also do a fortnightly love and relationships forecast for your sign, and also a fortnightly career and ambitions forecast for your sign. And in fact, all the other 11 signs, I do them every 2 weeks at the time of the new moon and the full moon. So you could get 4 of these forecasts every single month. I'm also offering 5-minute forecasts for Monday to Friday, so that you know you get to see what's coming up the day before. You can maybe help that inform you about the day ahead. In membership as well, this is if you choose to be a member, there's also 2 lively and live groupinars where you're invited to join us for a chat, where we can explore your chart, my chart, and everyone's chart, and explore a particular aspect of it. So it really is, whether you're new to astrology or you know, quite well versed in astrology, it's a time to share information and realize that these patterns do make a difference. I think it's really quite helpful. I've also got a drop-in moment, so you know, if there is something bugging you, you can reach me. There's a time and place where I'll always be. And also, if you've been considering a consultation, I offer 20% off to all of my members. So if some of these feel like they'd be useful to you, you need to go to www.school.com/feelgoodastrology. You get 1 week's free trial, so you can, you know, try before you buy. And if you like it, it's $22 a month. So there you have it. I hope that's helpful to you, Aries. I mean, there's so much going on, really, truly. If you haven't looked at the Saturn in Aries forecast yet, I would check that out as well, given its absolute importance to you. But anyway, sending you loads of love. Take care and catch you another time real soon. Bye for now.